Yo, what's up guys, Dan here. This lens is the best lens I've ever used shooting concerts. It's my secret weapon and works so well in pretty much any situation it gets put in. It's not a prime lens, it's not an f1.8. This is the Sigma 24 to 70mm f2.8. A lot of people prefer to use prime lenses as they've got a bit more of a wider aperture usually. The optics are supposed to be better than what they are in a zoom lens. However, I view this lens as several prime lenses in one. The versatility with it being a zoom lens at f2.8 constant all the way through means that it is the most irreplaceable thing in my entire toolkit as a filmmaker and photographer. Now, not only do I use this for shows, but I also use this for pretty much any work that I do. I've used this on weddings that I've shot, newborn shoots, documentary work, and it has managed to slot in no matter where I put it. So this lens lives on my camera 98% of the time. Let's talk about the features of this lens. Its focal length ranges from 24mm through to 70mm. This stays at f2.8 constantly all the way through. This lens is built for full frame cameras, so 24mm on a full frame is very wide. At 24mm, I can get awesome wide angle shots such as these. It's also great for landscape stuff. People even use this for real estate photography. With lens correction mode set up in camera, there's basically no distortion or vignetting at 24mm. And going all the way through to 70mm allows me to really get in there and get these nice tight shots. And the separation that you get at 70mm is amazing. There is one thing to say whilst zooming on this lens, the barrel does extend. So for a lot of gimbal users, that might not be great. However, I use this on a gimbal all the time and I have absolutely no problems when I am extending out and retracting the lens. As I previously said, the aperture is set at a constant f2.8 all the way through the focal range with an 11 blade aperture. It gives you really nice round bokeh, and f2.8 allows you to get that really nice depth of field. With this being on a full frame camera as well, f2.8 allows more lighting than what you would expect. So partnered up with my Sony A7IV, this thing is an absolute low light beast. It also goes all the way through to f22 for its minimum aperture. Its minimum focusing distance is 18 centimeters at 24mm and 38 centimeters at 70mm. On the actual lens itself, it has this locking switch here, which locks in the barrel from extending whilst in transit. It has this cool little function button right here, the AFL button. From stock, this is set up to lock your focus from where you currently are. So if you are on autofocus and you hold that button down, it won't move around the focusing point. But you can also set this up as a custom function button. You can set this up to change different parameters within your camera, which I think is a really cool addition. And it also has this little switch here so you can go between autofocus and manual focus. Another nice little added extra is this locking lens hood. You can see here the lens hood is just going to lock into place, and it's got a little button right here on the hood itself to be able to unlock it and take it off again. But whilst it is locked in, it's not going anywhere. It has an 82mm thread size, and it is also weather sealed. This is really good for those of us who are in very dusty or wet or damp conditions, such as sweaty rooms at shows. It means you can use this lens in most conditions without worrying about it getting damaged internally. It is made for E-mount and L-mount systems. Mine is for the Sony E-mount. I use mine with my Sony A7IV, so bear that in mind if you are looking to purchase this lens. Speaking of using this lens with Sony cameras, I sometimes find myself using the cropped sensor mode on my camera to be able to get a little bit more of a focal range out of it. So I'll extend this all the way through to 70mm and then select my crop sensor mode, and I'll get an even further throw off of this lens. It also has a very sturdy metal construction. This lens has been around the world with me, getting thrown in and out of bags and cases, getting knocked around at shows, and it's got next to no signs of wear on it. Now, this metal construction does come at a cost. This isn't a light lens. I don't personally see this as much of an issue, and I've had no problems with the weight of it, but I thought that's definitely worth mentioning that this is not a light lens. So let's get into image quality. This lens is a very, very sharp lens. I absolutely love it for that. As you can see here with these images, I can zoom in loads and it's absolutely tack sharp, even at f2.8. And when being used to film with, again, just look at this. Look how sharp and how nice that image is. The autofocus, it is so fast and very precise. It supports eye tracking and isn't very often that it misses the mark. As you can see here in this example, it isn't losing focus at all. Partnered up with the Sony, it is just ridiculously good at low light. Here's some examples of it being used in low light situations. What do you think? It's pretty damn good, right? Now, don't get me wrong, this is not a cheap lens. However, when it is set up against its probably closest competition really, which is the Sony 24-70mm f2.8, then it's an absolute no-brainer with £1,000 difference. Now, when I first was thinking about picking up this lens, I did have a little bit of a worry of, wow, that's a lot of money to be dropping on a lens. However, I'm so glad that I did go ahead with it. It has paid for itself and more. Who would I advise this lens is most suitable for? This lens is amazing in pretty much any situation that it gets thrown at it. However, I would say that it is best for run and gunners and hybrid shooters such as myself. It's perfect for those situations where you don't have time to be switching lenses. It's fast, trustworthy, and with run and gunning and hybrid shooting, you need it to be fast and trustworthy. I'm in absolutely no way affiliated with Sigma. I just absolutely love this lens. I've used so many lenses over the years, and this is just the most versatile lens I've come across. Subscribe if you would like to see more content like this, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.